See, is this what you want to do for a quick supper? Okay, we're here. We've been in line for 4 minutes. Now we're waiting another couple of minutes just to get to pay. Then I'm sure we'll have more time that we'll have to do so that we can get our food. We've only ordered 3 things, so hopefully they get this right this time. Hello, and welcome to the next installment of Happier Meal Deals. Today I'll be making marinara with pasta. I've chosen penne because I like the little holes inside to hold more sauce. The marinara today is going to be very quick. I'm making it with crushed tomatoes, which gives it extra body and extra heft, and also sticks to the pasta better than a thin marinara sauce. Many of those ones that you might be using already that cost about $1.50 and in the can. By using the Spice Road blends, we're able to not cut onions and smash garlic and measure 4 and 5 kinds of herbs and other seasonings. All we have to do is measure 1 ingredient, put it in, stir it, put it on the stove, and pretty much forget it to make a very thick and very rich marinara sauce. I'll show you how that's done right now. Oops, that was kind of good. I'll be using about a half a bag. I'm using the very cheap pasta. For my family, typically I would use more, but I'm trying to keep our costs down and show you that for less than half of what you can pay for a Happy Meal for 4 people at the McDonald's or Jack in the Box, that you can feed your entire family a much better, much healthier, and certainly more delicious meal. I'm going to add the crushed tomatoes to a small stock pot. And at this point, I'm going to be adding the Fattorio Italiano blend. The Fattorio Italiano blend does have the onion and garlic in it, but it also has 4 herbs. Now, something that's interesting about this mix, it's from northern Italy. It doesn't have quite as many pungent herbs in it. It has more sweet herbs, but it also has more vegetable in it as well. And we've added some chicken stock too to give it that extra heft and warm, hearty farm flavor that is typical in northern Italy. I'll be adding right at 2, maybe a little bit more than 2 tablespoons. And the good thing about the Spice Road blends is you can add a little bit more because we don't put very much salt in it. We don't want to sell you expensive salt, and we don't think you need it, perhaps, to have the flavor that your family will enjoy. So I'm going to stir this up a little bit and put it on the stove on a medium heat and pretty much forget about that except for 2 or 3 times of just stirring that on the stove. Okay. The next thing I'm going to be doing is putting the pasta water on. I've got some cold water on the stove right now. Now, one thing that you may have heard from other chefs and cooks on TV and online is that you want a very salty water. That's very true. It's very important to have an ionized water when we're dealing with pure carbohydrate, which is almost what is involved in wheat pasta. So we're going to let that boil. Meanwhile, what I'm going to do is, rather than cooking off hamburger and then draining it and browning it and adding vegetable matter and stuff and then adding the sauce, I'm going to keep them separate. And this is a little more ritzy perhaps to some people, but I'm just going to use Italian sausage. Now, for 2 reasons, I'm going to be actually using a lid. One is it helps cook it a little bit better, but mostly it keeps the splatter and all of that off my kitchen and off my stove. Now what I'd like to do is make a quick salad with a vinaigrette dressing. Now, many times in here in America, we make the dressing separately, perhaps in a carafe, and make the salad and then pour it on. In Italy, quite frankly, many times what they do is make the sauce first, put in the lettuce and the salad vegetable, and then stir that, and everybody gets the salad dressing the same, and it coats the entire salad. We're going to do that for expediency, and also because it's typical in many of the northern Italy area. I'm going to start with balsamic vinegar. I'm going to be putting in just about 1/3 cup. And now I'm going to use the roasted vegetable blend. This has, again, some herbs, but it's different herbs than is found in the Fattorio Italiano. I'm going to be adding just about a teaspoon and a half. Now, again, I'm not real big on, oh, that was good. I'm not real big on blend, I'm not real big on the measurement of the blends. In time you will learn more, but I'm trying to give you a basis to start with. So there's a teaspoon and a half of the roasted vegetable. I'm going to stir that a little bit now. Many times with my family, I add a little bit of sugar. It kind of balances off and gives a nice complement to the acids in the vinegar. So I'm going to do that now. And give that a stir and let this sit for about 15 minutes while my other things are cooking on the stove. Okay, our water is boiling now, a nice full rolling boil. I'm going to put in the pasta. For my family size, I'm going to be putting in about 4 ounces of pasta. What I'd like to do now is get ready for a garlic bread. Now, most of the time we cook that in the oven underneath the broiler, but it's one of those things that's pretty tricky. It's not cooked, it's not cooked, it's not cooked. Oh, it's burnt. It is such a short timing. What I'm going to do is, rather than heat up the stove, the oven, and heat up my house, we live in a place where it's kind of hot sometimes, I will do it in a cast iron skillet. Now, I can put just butter, and then we typically put garlic. What I'm going to do is add some extra flavor by using farmhouse table. Farmhouse table can be used for buttermilk dressings and sour cream dips, which is real delightful. Some people call it ranch on steroids. I've had friends. Well, not only have I had friends, I've had friends who say that this is ranch on steroids. It has some extra flavors. But what I'll be doing is taking some soft butter and actually mixing in the farmhouse table as a garlic spread. It has a few herbs in it, just a little hint, but it also has some extra garlic in it compared to some of the buttermilk style dressings. And it's absolutely delightful on bread. This mix is also good boiling in potatoes for mashed potatoes, and putting in sauces and things for like scallop potatoes or gratin potatoes. With higher carbohydrate foods, this is just a really fine blend at enhancing the flavors of those higher carbohydrate foods. I'm going to be adding just about a teaspoon, not quite, of the farmhouse blend into 1/2 stick of butter. Another nice thing about pre-mixing butter is it can be used in other recipes even for the next few days. Frozen vegetables, fresh broccoli, fresh asparagus, sauteed. This is delightful in using that for that purpose. Okay, let's go ahead and butter our French bread. Get it ready for the cast iron skillet. Now, it's important, especially on a skillet, but even in the oven broiler, to cover the entire bread with the spread. Otherwise, we're basically frying part of the bread and toasting part of it dry, and that gives us an uneven cook. And besides that, I like some flavor in every bite. We're also now ready to finish up the salad. I have let this steep for about 15 minutes now. And it's important to go ahead and let that sit for a little bit without any oil or anything encapsulating the vinegar. The acids are doing its thing, and it takes about 10 or 15 minutes is all, but it certainly enhances and draws that flavor out of the herb and the dehydrated vegetable. As I stir this, there's no emulsifier like egg or other kinds of sources of lecithin, so this is still going to separate. But by stirring it and putting the oil in, I can tell exactly how much oil I really need to suspend that vinegar. So I'm going to go ahead and mix it. At the same time, I slowly pour in the olive oil. As you can see, hopefully it's a little ways away, you can see that that's glossy. It's not emulsified. It will still separate. But for a moment, that oil and vinegar is equal. And so that's what we're looking for, is where the oil is not overtaking the vinegar. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add the salad. It's ready for me to toss. I don't have to toss it now. By tossing it now, it can make it a little bit more wilted, a little more wimpy, if you will. but it's ready to go when it's ready to go on the table. And now I'm going to transfer the cast iron skillet onto that same hot element. Okay, my sauce is really ready. My sausage is ready. I'm going to present that now. Okay, my sausage with a little marinara is ready. I'm going to pull the pasta. And the marinara is coming right up. You'll find that this is thicker than the Pomodoro style sauce, which is all smooth and has no lumps in it. But to me, the flavor on this is just delightful. From the Fattorio Italiano is obviously a great flavor to us. We know you'll enjoy it as well. But see how this still sits right on top of the pasta. It still has that flavor, and you're not chasing it all over the plate with a spoon. I'm going to toss a little bit in just to keep it moist and keep it from sticking a little bit. And the rest of the sauce goes on top. And here we go. This is a fresh grated Romano. You can use that dehydrated stuff in a can. It works just fine. I'm kind of a picky when it comes to my cheese. And use plenty. And I'm getting ready to toast the bread. While that bread is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and toss the salad. We've brought to you this marinara and pasta meal with Italian sausage, an Italian dressing with vinaigrette, and a garlic toast. We've done this in 23 minutes. We've also costed this out to be right at $14, and you can feed a family of 4. This is Spice Road Designers Spices that makes it possible for you to cook this quickly and with this flavor. This would cost you much more money, perhaps $14 to $18 even for one person's meal in one of the fast food Italian restaurants that you have to wait 45 minutes in line before you get a table. Thank you for joining us here on this Happier Meal Deal segment with Spice Road Designers. Good day.